Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Econobox Garage. In this week's episode, we'll continue on the Bugeye build with welding in the patch panels on the rear valance and the right side rear quarter panel. So that's the goal for this week. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. So first up this week is to get this patch panel welded in for here, and then from there we'll start working our way around to the back of the car and get the rear valance welded in. But let's not jump too far ahead. Let's get the welder out and get working on this. So here we go. We got the lower leg of the inner wheel arch repaired. One little bit left to do on that. And I've got the edge of the boot floor repaired along here and that. So quite happy with how things are going so far. So let's get back to work on adding more metal. I'm going to start welding on the rear valance panel. So I've got some work cut out for me here. But other than that, I think it'll be fairly straightforward. So the plan is to get that welded in down this side, as well as across here. And then I'll get the patch panel for this lower quarter panel cut to fit, and then get that welded in as well. Once those pieces are welded in, I'm going to put the car back on the rotisserie and flip it over, because it'll be a lot easier to work on this edge here. Put that closing panel in and this area here from underneath. Well, I just started on welding the back panel on, and I just got a call from a fellow Bugeye enthusiast that used to work in a body shop, and he suggested taking a piece of 1-inch copper pipe, flattening it, and then holding that in behind the welds with a welding magnet to help do the welding on the back side of it. So I'm going to give that a try and see how it works out. So there's my piece of copper, and it's actually taped to a welding magnet, which in turn is taped to a piece of wood, so I can reach in to the weld right down in there. Well, it seems to have held up there. Let's see if it makes let's see if it helps out when I'm welding. Well, it's not the prettiest, but it's coming along. It's not held in with clecos or butt weld clamps or anything like that. So now that that's done, I'm just going to do some cleanup and get to work on installing this panel right there. Before I cut this section out, I did some measurements from basically the point of it up to a couple of points on the upper part of the quarter panel. Now what I've done to help me put this back together is I've tied a knot in a piece of string. Edge of the tape here down to that knot is 50 centimeters, and then it's 54 from the knot up to my mark up here. So what I can do is I can pull that down at the knot and know that that's where the corner of the quarter panel has to be. Now I also took a measurement from the point of the lower arch on the other side of the car to this side of the car, and it's 127 centimeters. And I've done the same thing with the string from that side as well. So from that knot to the corresponding point on the other side of the car is 127. So I know that I'm in the right ballpark for where all those come together. So what I've actually done here is I ran the knife along the top edge of the panel all the way along, and then just transferred that piece of tape to the panel itself. So what I'll do is I'll take my marker, mark that line, pull the tape off, and then I'll make sure I cut inside that line. So there I've got the line marked on there, and I'm just going to take the tape off. And that leaves me a good line here to work with, and I'll just cut above that line and then do a trial fit back on. And then I'll put more tape back on here, and I'll repeat the same process until I have the patch panel the correct size. So there we go, the final bit of fettling and adjustment in here, and I'm really happy with how this is fitting now. My measuring string for the bottom corner, I'm pretty well bang on, and the same for the one that comes across from the other side. Yeah, and I'm very happy with how everything's flowing together, and these butt weld clamps are really good at doing exactly what they're supposed to do here. So I've been fortunate, I've been able to reach my hand up in behind the quarter panel patch, and so I can fiddle and get the pins in the butt weld clamps. So next step is to get the welder out and start tacking the patch panel back on the car. So I just thought I would double check my measurements here now that I've got this all tacked in, and there's my knot, and tighten those two pieces up, and we're right where we should be. So the other string measurement that I've double checked is the one that I've used from crease in the body here at the top of the tail light, and then down along that approximate line, and my my knot ends up right where it's supposed to be, or I guess the panel is right where it's supposed to be relative to the knot. I made this little string on the other side to go from up there down to the edge of the existing quarter panel. So I flattened out a second piece of copper pipe. Now what it does is it provides a backing for your weld, which greatly reduces the chance of blowing through when you're welding. It also acts as a heat sink. It takes away a lot of the heat that would normally result in a warping. Now I was able to get it in tight on all of these, and you can see there's no blow through. It was a little challenging in here because of the curve, not only up and down but always sideways, but I did just put a bit of a curve in the end of that to fit as best I could up in here. I'll continue to use that as I fill in between each of these spot welds with further spot welds to finish up this joint all the way around. So that's all the time I had this week. Didn't quite meet my target, but I'm extremely happy with the progress that I've been able to make. So come back next week and we'll finish up the welding on the back end of the car. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon so you'll get notified when the next video comes out. My name is Ian. This is the Econobox Garage. We'll see you next time.